It says Community Legacy Award presented to Mayor Dan Matthew for 50 years of club membership and unselfish service to our club and leadership as a club president in 1989 and 90. With deep appreciation for your commitment and dedication to the ideals of Rotary, attendance, and support for the 5 avenues of service. Dan, your contribution to the growth of the Dallas-Fort Worth region economy and ongoing vibrancy has been outstanding. Your commitment to the governance, business expansion, economy has been legendary. It is a pleasure, honor for me to thank you, and the Irving Las Colinas Rotary Club thanks you for all your years of service.
Well, let me bring greetings to our friends that are joining us online here again. So Jim and Chris in Dallas. Thought I saw Ryan walk by a minute ago, so there's Ryan. Good to see you, sir. Glad you're able to join us today. We're getting ready to start right now. So
thanks, Robert. Good to see you, man.
For a minute.
Hey, Robert, quick question.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday, May 6th meeting of your Irving Las Colinas Rotary Club. If you'll stand with me, our invocation will be led by Reverend Bill Labar, our pledge by Tom Box. Tom, welcome back. We're good to see you again, sir. We'll be singing Home on the Range, led by Neil and Sandra Davidson, and John Van Buren will be introducing our visiting Rotarians and guests. And I'm just giving you a heads up, we have a distinguished guest that'll be here in a few minutes, so y'all be watching when they arrive. So Bill Labar, give us an update on the funeral and flags and lead us in prayer.
We had a really nice service for Dr. Oberlin last Saturday. The rain held off for 4 minutes after I was done, and started just as sprinkling just as people were letting up, which pushed them all over here to the reception. But I just saw Mary just a few minutes ago, and she's sad, but she's doing okay. And I want to thank everyone that was there and for your prayers and participation. And I can tell you, those of you who have known, I didn't say this in service, I should have, that have known Dr. Oberlin, his beloved dog, Tessie, was in the casket with him. So, yeah, that's a good thing. Now, we're building flags on Saturday, 9 o'clock for 1 hour or until we run out of flags. So, just want you to know that we need everybody's help there. And if the election for the governor is next year, but if it were this year, I would vote for the guy who would declare a day like today a state holiday and say everybody gets to go home. Okay, go out, just be outside somewhere because it's gorgeous outside. Would you join me in the spirit of prayer? Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day, for this great club and its work in our community. We give you thanks for this absolutely spectacular spring day. It just refreshes us to see how beautiful it can be at this time of year. We ask your spirit to be upon us, to bless our work as a club, to bless this food, to take it to the nourishment of our bodies, and to keep us this day in your peace. In the name of the Christ, amen.
Tom, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right there. Right there's good.
Right here, okay, now.
Well done. Y'all noticed a little of that Texas sage in that picture there, and you sang well. Well, John Van Buren, you have the list. You're going to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests, or?
I have no list because I was not given one. To my knowledge, there are no guests in the house except for our speaker, and I will certainly let Mr. Lindsay introduce her. And we do have a special, outstanding, spectacular, wonderful guest coming. I've been told by text and other electronic means. Our very own Max Plant, the incoming district governor,
Is on the way.
And as I speak, no, it's Lindsay.
All right. Well, we'll give Max our applause when she does arrive, and good to have so many Rotarians in the house and so many of you online today. Grateful for that. We have a few quick announcements. Rick Lindsay, do you have a flag announcement you want to make?
Mr. President,
Please do, sir.
I don't know that I can be quick.
Okay. Then be.
We're really thank you, Rick. Brevity is the soul of wit.
I start the clock. Well, you've seen me talk about the labels for the flag program. We got those in. We have 2,000, Mr. President. So congratulations to Bill, Dr. LeVar, for all the hard work on building flags. And now I think Bob Bourgeois has some ideas on how we can maybe draft some folks from Irving Convention, Visitors Bureau, Community Engagement to help us put on 1,500 labels. So the process will be wipe it down with an alcohol rag, let it dry, put the label on, and I think that'll help us with some advertising. Dr. LeVar, thank you for your hard work on sending out the 40 letters. Kathy said she's already got some responses. Sir? Good. We're at 1,259, Mr. President. Our goal was probably around 1,500. We do have our new account set up, so we'll be sending out a renewal notice today from the system, see if we can drive that number up. We do have a need for some of us to step forward and take over a route. So Kathy and Rosa are working on that. At this time, we have 6 routes that are not assigned to a team. So stay alert because we may be calling on you. And ladies, we can all get together and go put these flags out, but we need to get that done, especially this Memorial Day holiday. And then we'll see how it shakes out over the next few months as we make additional assignments. So, Mr. President, I think that's what I had on flags. Kathy gave me a huge sheet here, but we've got 64 homes and 34 commons. So buddy, are you up to driving sleeves yet? You don't know. Well, we're glad you're here after battling the virus there for a while, but yeah, Bob Nelson, I'll be calling you, Richard, Dr. Para, we're all going to have to get out. 64 is going to be a pretty good number. So, Mr. President, that's kind of the flag update.
All rise for the district governor-elect.
Max, we weren't going to let you sneak in here. We're going to make sure we properly recognized you. As Rick said, we've got 1,269 flags. We've got 231 that we have to hopefully renew between now and Memorial Day to hit that 1,500 number. Lindy says we're a little bit over $55,000 in revenue. If we can get those other 200, that'll put our revenue up close to $70,000 by Memorial Day. We should finish the year with close to 100,000 in revenue if we can, but we need your help with that. Kathy was able to get a couple of those routes taken care of earlier, Rick, so we may not have 6 available anymore, but if you want to help with the route or team up with the route, need to make sure we can make that happen. Looking on my schedule. Well, this is May. This begins our Irving Travel and Tourism Month. So we're going to have programs over the next 4 weeks that our one and only Mara Gask has helped arrange. I'll let Rick Lindsay introduce our speaker in just a moment. Max, not to put you on the spot, but did you have something you'd like to share with the club? I kind of thought the answer was yes, so. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Good to be here.
All right.
They didn't tell me how busy it was going to be, but I am enjoying it. So I want to invite all of you to this very spot, but right down the hall on the evening of June 29th. It's a Tuesday. We will have my installation here. As this being my home club, I wanted it at this location. Finished negotiating with the club this morning, so we will have it here. We've got a menu where you can choose between prosciutto wrapped chicken or salmon. It'll be plated. I'm working on some entertainment, haven't finished that yet, but I think it's going to be a great evening. And as always for installation, the cost is $58.10, just like our district, to attend. So the registration hopefully will go live this weekend, and I'm hoping that we can get a really great attendance from this club. So, so whenever I became president, the district governor that year was able to get the international president in for that installation, and they installed, besides installing him, they installed the presidents coming in. So I was installed by him besides being installed here at the club. So our international president is in India and prohibited from traveling to the US right now. So I can't have him, but I have the next best thing, and that is our Rotary International Director, Susie Howe, will be here that night to do the installation. And so hope you all can be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Max. Everybody get that on your calendar, Tuesday, June the 29th, 7 o'clock.
Dinner at 7, social will probably be at 6.
Okay.
We will have another more.
Yes, and we will make that announcement multiple times over the next few months. Well, I'm going to turn the microphone back over to Rick Lindsay to introduce our speaker. So give it up to past President Rick Lindsay. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Max, I'll be there, especially after your last comment. Well, as President also said, this week officially starts National Travel and Tourism Week. This evening at the City Council meeting, the mayor will read a proclamation. I don't know if you're going to talk about that, Laurie, but the mayor will read a proclamation for the city of Irving, kicking off our celebration and acknowledgement. So we're taking the liberty of celebrating this important part of Irving's vibrancy and stability all month long, as the president said. So our first speaker is going to be Laurie Fojtasek, the Irving CVB Vice President of Service and Sales, a 27-year veteran of the Irving Convention Visitors Bureau. Laurie has been a destination advocate for Irving, Texas for over the past 3 decades. She began her career in hospitality as a sales manager for the Wyndham Hotel in Irving before becoming a sales manager in the ICVB. Her leadership skills fast-tracked her to become director of sales and later the head of the Irving CVB Sales and Service Department. As a native Texan, which I didn't know, you sang that song real well, Laurie stayed close to her roots. She attended University of Texas, Arlington, where she was active in her Tri Delta sorority and was awarded a Bachelor of Arts in Advertising. She has also been an active member of numerous hospitality organizations, including MPI, I'll let you explain these, yeah. PCMA, IAEE, and others. Laurie enjoys spending quality time with her family, especially her son Pearson. She also enjoys raising goats, chickens, and the occasional baby squirrel, and spending time on their property in Oklahoma. Please help me welcome our speaker today, Laurie Fojtasek.
Well, hello. Thank you, Rick, so much. It's so good to be in a room with people and not just looking at them through a screen, right? Did anybody else, when they started pulling their work clothes out, have to send clothes to the cleaners because they were covered in dust? Or I actually had to send some to the alterations people because they shrank while they sat there for a year. Today, I'm going to talk about the meeting industry. I know that you guys are all familiar with Maura Gast. Maura just celebrated her 30th year with the Irving CVB. She hates it. I don't know if she's on here. She hates it when I talk about things like that or talk about her. But if you see her, please congratulate her on that. I have learned so much from Maura over my 27 years of working with her. But one thing that I still have not mastered completely is how to capture an audience the way that she does. So y'all just be kind today. I'm going to give it a go. So like Rick said, this week is National Travel and Tourism Week across the country. So Maura did ask that I speak today. I'm the first in a series of people that I work with that will speak, just to talk a little bit about what the Irving CVB does and how it has helped in this community and the state of Texas as well. My department, sales and service, is what I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we did pre-COVID, because it's different now, obviously. And then just kind of how we are continuing to do our jobs today. So my team is tasked with putting heads in beds. That's what we refer to it. It's really trying to find people to come in and have meetings in our hotels and in our convention center. And that's important to my staff because they have sales goals. They have to book a certain number of room nights in a year. And just to explain, because I don't want to speak up here and I don't want to dummy this down, but a room night is one night in a hotel room. So if you go to a hotel and you stay 5 days, you have used 5 room nights. It's also our goal to assist meeting planners in finding the right hotel for their group and their meeting. You know, everything's online now, and a meeting planner can find pretty much anything she wants to find out, good and bad, about a hotel. But having someone here in town that is very familiar with the hotels is really important, because it's our job to make them look good and to make the city of Irving look good. And while that job might sound easy, because Irving is a fabulous destination for meetings, we do compete with a lot of really wonderful destinations across the world. And I kind of always giggle a little bit when a meeting planner says, for this convention that you're competing with, we're considering Irving, Texas, San Diego, Las Vegas, and Orlando. So how do you compete with that when you're Irving, Texas? Well, I'm going to tell you how we compete with that. We compete with that with a very dynamic, experienced group of sales managers. I personally manage 5 sales managers and 2 servicing people. The servicing people kind of take over the groups once they're booked in our convention center or our hotel. Our sales managers are deployed by market segment. So I have 2 people that handle the corporate meetings, because there's a lot of corporate activity here, obviously. 1 person that handles the association market. And we know that there is an association for everything under the sun, right? The Association of Goat Farmers, the Association of Corn Growers. There's an association for everything. I have 1 person that handles sports and entertainment, and then I have 1 person that handles Smurf. And That is not a little blue cartoon character. SMRF is actually an acronym for social, military, education, religious, and fraternal. So she basically handles everything that the other ones don't handle. She's got a really big job. We, pre-COVID, to find business for Irving, would go to trade shows and networking events, golf tournaments, all kinds of places that are usually put on by hospitality organizations. All of those MPIs and PCMAs and all of those things, those are all hospitality organizations. So organizations like Meeting Professionals International, that's what MPI stands for, or the Religious Conference Managers Association. Those associations put on a trade show. They have members that are suppliers or vendors in the hospitality industry, like we are, and like hoteliers. And then they have meeting members that are meeting planners. So it's a great place to go and find. That's where we go fishing. It's the big pond that we fish in, and you want to fish where they're biting, where the fish are biting. So we go to those trade shows to find our potential customers. We would also go on sales calls, so to like a major market city. So almost all state associations are headquartered in Austin. Most of the national associations are in Washington, DC or Chicago. So we would go into these cities and make sales calls all week long. We might host a dinner and invite many meeting planners, do a presentation, talk to them about how Irving is the perfect place for them to have their small meeting or their large convention. We have a lot of hotels in Irving. We are now up to over 80 hotels, over 12,000 hotel rooms in Irving, and that is a lot for a destination the size of Irving. We have been very lucky. We have everything from a Four Seasons resort to a Holiday Inn. So no matter what the meeting planner says their budget is or the size of their meeting, we have something that works for them. Probably our first and maybe our biggest challenge is just teaching people where Irving, Texas is. Now, I know we all know where Irving, Texas is, and how dare they not know where we are, right? We do get confused with Irvine, California sometimes. So we start our conversation using the D word and the F word. Not those words. Dallas and Fort Worth. So we kind of like to say that we are the rose between two thorns. And that puts them on the map of where we are. So that's where we start. We narrow that down. Then we can go in and we can talk about all of the wonderful location. We're right in the middle of DFW Airport, left field. And of course, I'm sure all of you know that we have this wonderful new entertainment district. And it's not just an entertainment district, it's also a convention district. It's anchored by the convention center, of course, by the pavilion, and now by the Westin Irving Convention Center. And that was really important adding that last piece because it did make us a walkable convention destination. And if you've ever been to a convention and you have to get on a bus, it's not really very fun. And paying for those buses is even less fun. So, like I said, we have everything from, that Westin Hotel. We have a Marriott that's right there, and all of this is really walkable. So that was a big piece for us. The AB Hotels is basically how we get our funding. We are 100% funded by the hotel occupancy tax, or hot tax, as you might hear it referred to, that our guests pay when they come into town. So none of our money comes from general funds. We're 100% funded through those tax dollars. And we, along with the arts and historic preservation, all get a percentage of those tax dollars. And by law, that hot tax has to be used to promote destination or to promote the convention center or hotels, museums or tourist attractions, things that are going to bring more visitors in. Most CVBs nowadays don't just rely on their hotel tax. They sell memberships. Some of them have started adding marketing fees. If you go to a hotel next time, you might see a tourism fee that's added to your hotel bill. So we don't currently do that. We're 100% city employees and funded through the hotel tax dollars. There are pros and cons to being funded strictly by the hotel tax dollars. When times are really good and you have 80 hotels and one of them is a Four Seasons and the other one's an Omni, we have pretty high rates of hotel stays. The budget's really healthy and it's really good. And we can attend all those trade shows and do all of that stuff to bring business in. When hotels are low, when the occupancies are low and there's not very many people staying with us, it takes a hit on your budget, obviously. COVID-19 really put a hit on our budget. Back in April of 2019, for example, our hotel occupancy rate, and what that means is if a hotel has 350 rooms and they sell all 350 rooms, they have 100% occupancy. So back in 2019, before COVID, in April, our citywide hotel occupancy was 74%. So 74% of those 12,000 sleeping rooms that we have here were occupied for the whole month of April. Last year, it dropped to 22. That's a budget killer right there. So what do you do when you don't have any money and you still need to go out and fill those hotel rooms? Well, we didn't have to lay off people, thank goodness. That 175 group, so since COVID happened back in March of last year, we lost over 175,000 group room nights. That's a lot. That 175, that was lost business and canceled business that we already had on the books. And it was all due to COVID. We asked them, why are we losing this? Or why are you canceling this? And the 175,000 that I'm talking about was due to COVID. That 175,000 rooms that we lost equates to almost $54 million in lost economic impact for the city. And those 175,000 rooms were only the ones that we assisted in booking. The hotels had many, many, many more. So our industry has taken a really big hit, and the CVB was forced to cut all of our travel and all of our programming over the past year. So that put a lot of pressure on the sales team. Go find some business. Don't spend any money, but go find some business and bring it back here so we can get this ball of yarn growing again. With no money, we had to get creative, basically. I mean, after all, we need people to stay in the hotels to generate taxes so that we can use those taxes to get people to stay in our hotels. It's a big cycle. So we started attending virtual and hybrid trade shows, kind of like we're doing here. We've got some people in person and we've got some people virtually. We attended those virtually because we didn't have the money to travel. We do one-on-one Zoom meetings with our meeting planners. I even have a couple of sales managers who have gone on virtual site inspections with their clients of the city. So while their client's sitting in Chicago at their house, their home office, my sales manager has their iPhone and it's their FaceTiming and walking around and showing the convention center and the hotels and the restaurants so that we can keep this pipeline filled up. We need to start rebooking business again. We also started doing our own webinars. We invited meeting planners to join us and we taught them how to do a virtual event or a hybrid event. And that was really scary for me because I don't want there to be virtual events. I want people to come back and meet in our hotels. But what it did was it allowed us to capture a large audience of meeting planners and to help them. They needed our help at that time. And that's another goal that we have is helping meeting planners look good for their boss or their association. And we were able to capture that audience and that they will remember that we did that for them and that we were not being selfish and trying to make them come back. If you want to do a virtual event, we'll help you do a virtual event. So we had to flex and we had to bend. We did a lot of the old-fashioned smiling and dialing because that's pretty cheap. And people, in the beginning, we didn't feel comfortable asking them about their meetings. We felt like we needed to ask how they were doing. How is your family doing? Is everybody okay? And it's, y'all know what sales is. It's building relationships with people. Really, it was kind of just putting in extra effort and extra time to find out what groups would be coming back first, what markets would be coming back first, and trying to go out and let them know that we're here and that we want their business. So the first groups that have started coming back, the medical industry has started coming back. Those people have a lot on their plate right now, so they have started coming back. IT is also very hot right now because obviously everybody's learning new skills and having to add new IT programs to their business. That has come back. And kind of an interesting part is from a sports aspect, youth sports and youth dance competitions and cheer competitions, those haven't hardly stopped. Those people they're going to get their events in. Some of them did virtual cheerleading competitions or hybrid cheerleading competitions, but those events have started coming back. So we tried to get ahead of the curve and call on those types of organizations. And, we sell our hotels. We're an extension of their hotel sales force. But we did kind of tell them, look, you can book business right now and make a very, very good negotiated deal. They want your business. They're being more flexible. Rates are not as high. So take that opportunity to book your group while you can. So things are coming back. I do just want to leave you with a positive feeling because things are getting better. I see a lot of positive things happening, more leads coming in, more people booking. Most of our groups are booking for next year or further out, but we do have some that are coming back this year, which is wonderful because we get to use that money in this fiscal year. In April of this year, our hotel occupancy rate was about 58%. So not as good as pre-COVID in 2019, but definitely better than what it was last year. It's definitely seen an increase. We will survive. We know what we're doing. We know how to get through this. We will come back and we're going to create revenue for the city again through the tourism industry. So with good people getting their vaccines or keeping their mask on, with the little help from the good Lord, you guys are going to see visitors back in our city and eating in our restaurants, buying gas at our gas stations because it trickles down. It helps all of our industries. So that's really the conclusion of my program. If y'all have any questions, throw them at me. I'll be happy to see if I can answer them. And if not, I'll ask Mara to answer them because I know she knows.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wonder, they're kind of gambling here, and I wonder what the racetrack is, or Windstar and everything else, that might be possible. Places, like 4 or 5 gambling places.
Right. I would love to see that. I like to gamble, so I would like to see that happen. The state of Texas is very conservative. The city of Irving is fairly conservative. It took many tries to get alcohol passed. So, gambling, I think it will take it a while to get here, but I think eventually it will come. They'll go out and vote. Yes, sir.
Well, you started your conversation by talking about how Irving competes with San Diego, Las Vegas, and Orlando. What are some of those attributes that Irving has that helps us?
Well, location is a big one. If you are a national association, you have people that are coming from New York, from California, from Montana, and it's a 3.5-hour flight, direct flight here with a huge international airport. So location is a big one. Cheaper airfare is a big one. Almost all of our hotels have free airport transportation, so they don't have to pay for that. Obviously, we have good times of the year and bad times of the year. San Diego pretty much has 72 degrees like it is, beautiful days like this every day of the week. We do struggle in August and July because it's hot, but what I tell people is when they ask what the temperature is in August, I tell them it's 72 degrees inside. As long as you stay inside, you're good. So just stay inside. So location, New York and San Diego both have, it's a 6-hour flight if your attendees coming from one coast to the other. So that's a big one. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. During the freeze that we had,
Mhm.
did people go to the hotels?
People did go to our hotels. So we have had a couple of things that have helped us tremendously. We consider them blessings. Most people don't. Back at the end in the fall last year, we had hurricane people staying here, and they stayed for months at some of our hotels, which is wonderful for us, not good for them. The freeze, same thing. So the interesting thing, our hotels, some of them could not fill up to full capacity because they just didn't have enough staff to clean the rooms. So they would just have to stop taking rooms when they were at 50% or 70% or whatever they had the staff to, service the groups that were in-house. But yes, we did very well during that time. The other thing that has been a really saving grace for us, we've had a lot of local people just do staycations in our hotels. Our marketing team has done a tremendous job of writing blogs and posting things on social media and promoting our city as a great staycation location. Come stay at our Four Seasons, come stay at our Omni that's newly renovated. And our weekend occupancies have been carrying us, and that's very unusual. Normally, our occupancies are pretty low during the weekends and high, in the 80s and 90s during the week. And that has just flip-flopped during COVID. So yes, the freeze did help us. And if y'all stayed in a hotel, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Any other questions? Yes, Bob? Absolutely. If you are a member, and I will use Max as an example. Max she's a dancer, and she's involved in other associations other than Rotary. I know Rotary is a big one right now for her, but Max has suggested to her organizations that they hold their meetings in Irving and in the convention center or our hotels. If you don't even have to necessarily be the one to initiate it, but if you are a member of an association and you would like to see their meetings or their conventions held here, give us a call. We'll reach out to them. If you know someone in particular that we can contact, that's better, but we have ways of finding out who people are. So we would love to host any of your association, any other associations that you're a part of. We'd love to host those in our hotels or convention center. That'd be great. It was a little commercial, I think, that Bob did for us. Rick? Yes.
So an article I read this morning, the president and his group thinks that perhaps July is a good date, that the numbers of people that have received the vaccine will be, I can use herd, but it will be at a level.
Right.
And then mask and social distance still we probably want to do. With all the medical and all the Fortune 500s, I know you got a plan on what you're going to do for the next 60 days.
We do.
You want to share anything?
Yes. So, well laid out plans are always wonderful. They don't always work, but our business it's what we're working on today is going to pay off 9 months or a year from now, because that's when the group, associations book 2 and 3 years out. So we recently had a strategic sales meeting just to focus and get a game plan of how we're going to go after short-term business, things that are booking right now, how we can convince them to come here. We were able to add a little bit of programming money back, and we offer rebates to companies if they'll book with us, if we're competing with other cities. So we don't have a lot of that money. So we kind of limited it and said, if you're interested in having a meeting in the next 60 or 90 days, we'll give you $5 per room night, just for coming to see us. You can use it for transportation or food and beverage, or to pay meeting room rental, put it in your pocket, whatever it is you need to do. Because we also know that people are struggling financially in other industries too, and a lot of them can't afford to come meet. We also have offered some free cancellation policies and free attrition-free policies. Attrition is, so if you book 100 hotel rooms and you only fill 50 of them, the hotel's going to require that you fulfill your contract and you pay for the other rooms. That's called attrition. We talked to our hotels and said, we've got to offer some free attrition and some free, contract-free, cancellation-free contracts, because people are very leery. They don't know. We've had several groups that back in March of last year pushed their meeting to September, thinking surely by September, things are going to be better. Then they had to push to January. Then they had to push to May. So people are not, and they've had to all go back and renegotiate their contracts and sometimes pay cancellation fees. If you're in a pandemic, that is a force majeure thing, and most of them are able to get out of their contract. But they don't know if in November of this year, we're still going to be considered to be in a pandemic. So we have offered some interesting cancellation clauses and some attrition-free type deals just to get people to sign, because we feel like once that's not a hurdle, obviously that's the first step. If you can get them to book, and then we can prove that our numbers are dropping and our state's opened up and there's restaurants where they can eat, and the service industry is getting better because people are going back to work. That's been a big struggle for us, our restaurants and our hotels, because they haven't been able to find people to work for them again. They had to lay people off, and they can't find people to work. So if you go to a restaurant and it's a little slower than it used to be, or you have to wait a little longer, it's because they literally also can't fill up every table in their restaurant. They don't have people to service them. So we are also going to start doing some job fairs for our industry, things that can maybe help our hotels and our restaurant and our convention center find good employees to hire back. So there are things that we're doing. We don't want somebody to come in and have a bad experience and say that town was awful. Customer service was awful. The restaurants were slow. We don't want that to happen. So there's a lot of things that go along that chain that we have to do to make sure that people have a good experience. That answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Great. I would encourage you. You're going to have a great opportunity when Caterpillar moves into 4 floors of Williams Square. They have a lot of meetings, a lot of conventions, a lot of training with dealers.
Yes.
All I can say is go get it.
We are on it.
Yeah,
we know about them moving here. We do keep up with that. We work very closely with economic development to know what businesses are moving in or increasing their office space. And a lot of times we do incentives for them as well. Look, we know you're new to the area. If you will use our hotels for your meetings and your conventions, we'll offer you that same rebate that we talked about before. Flora was huge for us when they moved here. Yes.
I want to know what's the maximum size of association meeting Irving can handle, and what is the perfect size?
Okay, so we have done some conventions. Like we had one that was a true convention. It was called Steubenville. It was a Catholic youth organization, and we had over 5,000 kids in the convention center. That's interesting. We used our loading dock to feed them. We used the parking garage to feed them. We brought in food trucks. It was a big group, but it worked extremely well. I would say that's probably the biggest. And the only problem we have with groups, especially youth groups, most of them double up in rooms. So they need a lot of double rooms. But when you're in a corporate market, most of the hotels want the majority of their rooms to be king size instead of 2 queens or 2 doubles. So we have to spread them out among many more hotels than probably we would like to. The perfect size group is, and it's different because for the convention center, 1,000 people we could do very easily. We can house them, we can feed them, they have plenty of meeting space, they can break out. For our hotels, the largest ballroom space we have is about 10,000 square feet. So probably for that, 500 to 750 is probably the perfect size for a hotel. Any other questions? Thank you, guys. Y'all have been wonderful for listening. Appreciate it.
Lori, before you leave the microphone, are there any sites considered located or related that you would like for us to follow or subscribe or like that we might be able to also help promote the ICVB in the city?
Absolutely. We are on all social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Please, most of them are Irving, Texas, like hashtag Irving, Texas or hashtag or irvingtexas.com. Anything that we post out there, we would love for you to share. We post events that are coming to the convention center that are open to the public. We if there's a group in town that's going to have an antique Mustang parade that's coming through that's mainly for them, we would love for people to come out and just cheer them on. Things like that. Please share that information, like it, read our blogs. All of our blogs right now, especially, are really more aimed at the residents, the new restaurants we have coming in, or events that we have coming. There is an event coming in July. So first off, we're going to have Olympic Days. Our Councilman Zapata is a big supporter of Olympic Days going on here. And that will be I think in the Texas Lottery Plaza. So there'll be some fun events, some athletes that come out. And during that same time, we just coincidentally booked an arm wrestling association or group competition. So y'all start lifting your weights, come out. I'm going to go arm wrestle. I'll challenge you. So fun stuff that the residents can get involved with as well. Thank you.
Lori, thank you. And Mara, thank you for helping us with great programming for the month. Hope you enjoyed that. Lori will be around for a couple of minutes after if you have other questions for her. Any other announcements I missed earlier? Well, then I'm going to ask the incoming president, Linda Despain, to come forward. Give it up for Linda. Upcoming programs, meetings,
Okay, let's see, upcoming
and
programs.
then he's going to do the full weekend.
Awesome. Looks like next week our program will be with Monty White, Director of Marketing. That should be interesting and enjoyable, just as today. Thank you, Lori. And then our next joint bi-monthly board meeting is Thursday, June 3rd at 10:30 a.m. And I believe everyone is invited.
All of our current board and your board next year, though, need to try to attend that meeting.
Everyone is invited. Next past president meeting will be Thursday, September the 2nd at 10:45 a.m. And I'm sure everyone knows who has been past presidents, right? You never forget that experience, Rick. And our next new member orientation will be to be announced. So we need new members. Bring in new members and we'll have it often. And Rick has agreed to help with that. And Max, thank you, Max. Good to see you. By the way, it's so good to see a lot of new faces here today. So we're moving forward. We're getting that vaccine and feeling comfortable about being out and about. And it's always nice to see all the members' beautiful faces, and it does feel good when the room is full. Right, Max? Okay, I think we're gonna go to the four-way test with interim president Shane Webb. Thank you, Shane.
All right, will you please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it true? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And meeting is adjourned.